Welcome back to Rick Answers His Email, the first edition of 2010. And first up is Doris, who paid $1 to be first in the video today. And she has a question about saving pictures from email. And instead of saving them as full size, for some reason she's saving them as thumbnails. And the computer seems to be saving only the thumbnail version instead of saving a 1400 kilobyte, as she put in her email, version of the photo she was sent. Now, you didn't tell me, unfortunately, Doris, what email program you're using, because that's the most important piece of the information I need. But the only thing I can tell you without knowing that is that there's one of two things happening. Either you're clicking on like a link that's bringing you to a website with the full version of the photo, and then when you try to download it, it only downloads the thumbnail, or something is happening with whatever email service you're using where you can view the thumbnails of the photos that are sent to you, and you're right-clicking and saving those instead of the attachment itself. So look for the little paperclip in the attachment section of your email and right-click on the file name, not the photo, but the file name that was sent to you as an attachment, and save it from there, and you should have better luck. Liz writes in and says there's a lot of things on her computer she can't use, more than likely web, that she can't use because her JavaScript is disabled. So probably in your browser, either Internet Explorer or Firefox, whatever you're using, you may have the JavaScript disabled. So do this for me. Go in Firefox, go to Tools, and then go to Options if you're using Firefox. Once you're in Options, click Content, and then there's two buttons here you want to make sure that are checked: Enable JavaScript and Enable Java. And as long as those are checked, click OK, and you should be back in business. If you're using Internet Explorer, you're going to click Tools from the menus, and then you're going to click Internet Options. And under Internet Options, you're going to do two things. Actually, we're going to do just one thing in Internet Options. Click over to the Advanced tab and click this button here that says Reset. Then you're going to get an option on whether or not you want to delete your personal settings. I would just click that button here and then click Reset, and that's going to reset all of the settings of Internet Explorer back to their default settings, which will include enabling JavaScript. Patsy has a new laptop and she wants to transfer information from her old laptop to the new one, but she's having some problems with her power cord and doesn't have a good battery. Probably the best thing for you to do is don't try to plug it back in. If it's getting hot and smoking, you don't want to cause any problems with the internal parts of the computer that could include causing a problem with your hard drive and thus your data. So what I would do instead is find somebody in your area that knows things about computers, that they can take the hard drive out of the computer, out of the little laptop. It's a very easy little thing to do. And they should also have a little gadget. I carry one with me. I don't have one right here handy, but it's one that I carry with me on my weekly rounds, that I can take the hard drive out of a computer, connect it to my little gadget, and then plug it into the USB of the new computer and transfer all your data. It's going to be the safer way to go. Papin here has a question that I would actually have to see in order to answer, but if you're consistently getting a freeze up after a minute, and it's always happening after a minute, there could be one of two things that I think would be the first thing to check. Number one is a hardware problem. Maybe it's getting too hot right away, and therefore it's locking up the video card, or the motherboard is locking up and it doesn't go any further. Or if it's a situation where there's some program that right at boot up is causing a lockup, you can troubleshoot that by booting into safe mode. Turn your computer off. When you turn your computer back on, immediately start punching F8 on your keyboard. And then after you punch F8, you're going to get a menu of options on what you would like to do. Tell it to boot up into safe mode. Safe mode eliminates anything that starts up automatically. And if it starts normally and operates fairly normally in safe mode, although you won't have internet access, at least you'll know that it's not a hardware problem and it's a software problem that you can troubleshoot. You can go to my website, helpmerick.com, search for msconfig, and also search for safe mode, and you will be able to find a lot of good little troubleshooting tips on what you can do. Good luck. Lynn has a question about the msmpeng.exe, which is basically one of the executable files that Windows Defender that comes with Windows Vista and Windows 7 automatically as part of Microsoft's security products towards anti-spyware. However, with Windows XP, if you're using the new Microsoft Security Essentials, you don't need the Windows Defender. So what I would do is go into Add and Remove Programs, remove Windows Defender, and see if that opens things up and gets things running a little smoother for you, because you don't need both, because the new Microsoft Security Essentials will include some anti-spyware product built into it. And if you had Windows Defender on there to begin with, that's probably where your conflict is lying. Emily is having a problem with her USB flash drive not being able to open on her computer. USB flash drives are usually pretty darn durable. I've even put a couple through my washer and dryer, and they've still survived and worked well. But they can have problems, just like any kind of equipment. What I would suggest first is take the little flash drive to another computer, another laptop or a neighbor's computer, plug it in, see if you can read any of the data off of it. If you can't, and there's very important data on it, you may need to take it into a computer shop that can run some diagnostics on the hardware itself, or try to recover some data from the flash drive if it's giving you problems. Good luck. Lastly, today we're going to answer a question from Nick, who's asking how to configure AVG to scan his incoming and outgoing Gmail. And you can't. Gmail does offer some basics, well, a very good spam filtering, but some basic virus filtering as well if you're using the web interface. The only way you can get AVG to scan your incoming and outgoing mail is to use another product like Outlook Express or Thunderbird or something like that to bring the mail onto your computer from Gmail. And at that point, I think it's not worth doing. Stay with what you're doing with Gmail on the web. And if you do download any attachments from your Gmail, then your AVG will kick in and scan for problems. So good luck. Thanks everyone for writing, and I'll be back again next week with more Rick Answers His Email.